X-Men 97. Who'd ever thought that they'd bring that shit the fuck back? Next up on Just the Talk, let's get it. Yeah. So, they're bringing back X-Men 97. Something that I never thought that I'd ever see coming. It was even just at its announcement. When I first heard about it like a few weeks ago, it was not too long before then I randomly found the X-Men cast, the original cast from the 97 animated series that came out in the 90s. I came across some reunion thing in dedication to the gentleman that played Scott Summers' voice. Hold on a second. Norm Spencer. And yeah, he passed away sadly last year, and I came across a reunion of sorts where they got all the voice actors together. And for me, it was real special because growing up watching that, it's like I never placed the faces to the actual actors. So it was crazy cool for me and nostalgic for me to come across it and watch it. It was dope. It was dope. I suggest anybody, if you can, and if I don't forget, I'll try to put it in the description, a link to it. But it, like I said, it's just excellent, right? Yeah, pun intended, right? In any event. So I came across that before, so it was funny for me to find out that they're bringing it back and continuing the story. Funny enough, I don't even really remember too much of how it ended. At least at that time, I came across it like years later on like YouTube, and I was like, and even then it was weird because I didn't really remember it having an exact finale per se. I think I vaguely remember the change in artists, but at the end of the day, I vaguely remembered it. So for them to bring it back, I wonder if they're continuing from that last season or they're continuing it from when they had the most popular artists on it from there on, carrying it. Either way you look at it, I think it's real dope because it's going to give us a chance to get the actual costume, the vibrant colors and all of that you won't exactly get from a live action variation of it. Not that we need to. That's what animated series are for us to create the fantasy and make it a lot more easily accepted. Either way you look at it, it doesn't matter. It leaps right off the page, and it's exciting for me to see this because, again, I came up off of this. So for me, this is actually cool. So for me, it was just a surprise they even considered doing something like that. I was like, yo, I never thought that anyone would think to do that. And Disney is very smart for actually resurrecting such a beloved animated series, especially that so much of the films have taken a lot of cues from. That being said, I'm real curious to know what they plan on doing with the series in terms of which direction they plan on going. Are they gonna go and take a lot of cues from classic books, which I would suspect they would, like Jim Lee's run, things of that nature, and that time, and when Ian Churchill used to do something like the X-Men, well, not so much X-Men, I think he was more like X-Force, but a lot of the older stuff like Andy Kubert years, you know what I'm saying? Like those type of years, and draw from a lot of those storylines and plot points, which I think would be dope to do. They even tapped on it one time doing Age of Apocalypse. Maybe they could do that at the end of season 2. Maybe have the next 2 seasons afterwards be all about the Age of Apocalypse run. That would be so cool to do, and it would like refresh the story. So you could spend the first 2 seasons bringing it back and kind of bringing us back to where they once were and making leaps forward. Then the last 2, well, I won't say last 2 seasons, say season, not just 1 season, but give it like 2 seasons where you revamp the whole thing and do Age of Apocalypse. And make it come back around for season 5 to continue where you left off in season 2. It's so cool because you can actually revamp the stories. You can even tell the age of not even the age we already just went over the Age of Apocalypse, but you could also tell what is it, was it Age of Onslaught? I think they called it Age of Onslaught. You could tell that storyline over the course of another two, maybe 2 seasons, if you will. And that's 6 seasons already, and you haven't even gotten stale, because you got even the Age of Onslaught. You can just pepper it out through the first year and then really get into it the last year. Or like I said, you even when you do Age of Apocalypse, give it 2 seasons and dedicate to each team a couple of episodes. Maybe like in the comics they had 4 comics, 4 issues, maybe 4 episodes to each character. And maybe you could tell it like that. It could be very dope, each storyline, and maybe even give them an opening series, or opening intro dedicated to just them. And maybe you don't have to play it all 4 issues to each one and then get into the next team. Maybe you could pepper it out and do it like all the first ones back to back to back, and then go back together again, go back around and do another their second issues, if you will, the second episodes, but then have the next team's episode afterwards, and the next team, and you fill it out if you have like 4 teams. Because I think it's Excalibur, it was Weapon X was one, the Exiles, was it the Exiles was one? I know it was X-Man was one. They had the Externals. Was it Externals? Because I think that's the one Gambit led, if you will. No, yeah, I think that's the one that Gambit led. I mean, but either way you look at it, do give an episode to each one with their own intro, and then actually play each team one after the other and fill that out for a season, or you may even stretch it out for 2 seasons. Because remember, it was like 4 issues per each one before it led into the very last one. You could do something like that, but keep it fresh. And I think this will be even a better route to go, because you're always revamping it, even within a larger story. And the larger story is so epic, it's so like everyone knows it, is well known, that you could do it and it'll be fun and refreshing. But that doesn't mean it still comes to an end, and you could come back to where you picked up off of with the original timeline, the 616 timeline, if you will, and keep going from there. I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, if you play your cards right with the X-Men 97 series, you can actually really tell a lot of great stories and really flesh out these characters in a way we never had an opportunity to do in the original series. But also in the original series, we were able to tell epic stories as sincere to the actual books that you read it off of. So it's just so cool to do it, and it, bring back the nostalgia, if you will. I mean, parents could watch this with their kids. I mean, this is actually like, I'm really excited for this one. I think this is actually a dope idea. Like, I didn't see it coming, and I think Disney was very forward thinking about doing something like that for the streaming channel. I mean, if in the age of needing new content, like, what would be more smarter? And it's not like you're trying to reboot it, you're trying to continue the story. And not saying that's a brand new fresh idea, but no one thought to do that with X-Men 97. I think that was just so dope. Like, next you should do, if that's successful, do Spider-Man 97. Like, we could go there and do the crossovers like y'all was doing back in the day, though. Like, there's so many different ways to do it, and that could be almost like your I forget the guy who runs the Batman series, animated series with Superman, but that series, I think it's Tim something, but either way you look at it, run your universe now, your old school 90s animated universe, the way they handled like Batman the animated universe with Superman the animated series, animated universe, Batman the animated series, as well as Superman the animated series. And when they did I forgot what they did, the duo's name when it's both of them, if you will, but y'all know what I'm talking about when they had a book together, because they had an animated series together, World's Finest. Then they did JLA. Like, you could handle these characters the same kind of way and merge them all together, and if you will, even bring back Iron Man and all of them, and tie it all in with the with Fantastic Four, and bring back that type of feel with the added complexities, if you will, of new storytelling that we've picked up on over the years as modern storytellers. So you could merge the best of both worlds. Because there's a lot of things that we're doing now that's better in storytelling with the overarching stories. But at the same time, there was a lot of things that were handled a lot better with the sincerity to these characters, the way they were drawn and leapt off the page, if you will, and the stories they chose to do at a time when it was when the X-Men were at their most iconic. And I think that's where you could do so much work. Like, easily right now, I just gave you 6 seasons just like that. And you still could pick up a lot of storylines within the comics that we never even had a chance to address, that you could address in these series. I mean, like, even when Archangel sort of grow back his wings, like, you could tell that time story. You could shit, man, if you really wanted to, you could really go back and tell, what's that fucking man, I forgot the name of that series. Oh man, we'll just know I'm going back to the comics. It doesn't matter. But a lot of things from the comic book series that were iconic stories that we never got a chance to really address. And then, like I said, you could, if this is successful, you could bring back all the other animated series from around that time and weave them in together. There's another excellent documentary online talking about the animated series of Spider-Man with X-Men and all that, how that was kind of like the first animated like universe in a way. I was like, shit, you're kind of right. The only thing I didn't remember that I didn't realize, I should say, is that they also try to show where I think Fantastic Four and the Sunday cartoon was like Hulk, and I think definitely I think they tried to say Iron Man was a part of that, which was just like one big shocking surprise to me, because I was like, I don't really remember that per se, because I don't remember too many crossovers, because I watched it. That was when it used to come on Sundays. So I was like, oh shit, like they was bringing back a lot of shit. If I can, I'm gonna try and remember to put that in the description, or hit me up in the comments and remind me if you don't see it there. But in any event, that would be a great direction for Disney to do, to mine the well of what you had in your Fox properties, to do something that you're doing now very well in a cinematic universe. You know what I'm saying? And I think this would be such a smart way to go about it. But X-Men 97, I'm totally hype about it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's such a dope idea. Like, I think it's so cool to do this shit. Like, I can't wait till they drop the first trailer, the teaser with them in motion so I can see it. From some of the drawings, I like everything. Rogue, not so much, because she looked like a whole other Rogue in the face, like a lot younger, more anime looking. Like, some of the other characters look a little bit more refined, which is cool, but she looks way too refined and younger in the face, that if we're going back to 9/7, Rogue needs to be preserved, because Rogue never really got her shine in the movies the way she should be, more to herself. So to see them change up her face so drastically, if you will, even though it might seem subtly, but it took a lot of the things that made Rogue visually Rogue. Wolverine looks like Wolverine. They didn't really show how he's gonna look with his mask off, which I think that's where my next concern may be if I got this with Rogue. I wasn't mad with Jean Grey, not so much mad with the upgrades in facial features with Jubilee. Certain things was expected to be changed. I would have preferred them lean a little bit more into the 97 style. Even though they did, I would have preferred it a little bit more closer, at least in the features, so they could be a lot more recognizable. For what I understood, there's the young lady that, they got the whole cast of the voice cast back, which is so cool. That is so cool. I hear that the original Jubilee is stepping down, so an Asian person or an actress, a voice actress of Asian descent can take on the role. I wish they didn't need to do that. I could understand. I'm a big fan of not having to sell us on this idea, but if you're going to say you're bringing back the whole cast, but you're bringing back Jubilee, which is another part to this, but she's not going to play that same character. She's stepping down. Well, they told the reason, and that was her reason. So it's not like they went out of their way to tell you, but they told you and moved on. As long as they don't oversell it as such, fine. I would have preferred her play the role again, because I'm more for the nostalgia value of it, because you're doing that with all other casts. Why not with her? But I get it, and I'm not knocking the reasoning behind it, as long as you're not over billboard doing it. One thing that is cool is because she stepped down for that particular reason, which I hope at least the lady tries to sound more like Jubilee, though she said she wants her to do what she can and own it herself, which I can respect. With bringing back 97, I want you to bring back all of it, and if you're going to be there, I'd rather you do it, but I get it. Moving right along, they are bringing the original Jubilee character back to play another character, and if they do it right and you're carrying on from 97, continuing the story, please do Kitty Pride and do the first episode as Pride of Kitty or the Pride of X-Men, something that leans into the original pilot. That would be so dope, and this would be a great way to bring in Shadowcat and start the story off, because that was how they originally pitched it. But when they finally did the 97 version, they did it around Jubilee being like the intro to the audience to the world of the X-Men, her just coming into it, which was the main thing around episode 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of around that, along with Morph dying, quote unquote. So with that being said, bringing back Kitty, because Kitty wasn't brought into the 97 thing, this would be a way to further the story, add maybe another character to the roster. So if she's playing that Kitty, that would be dope. But they said it's an undisclosed disclosed character, so we'll find out soon enough. But like I said, this is so cool, such a dope idea. I think this is something that a lot of fans will be really interested in. So let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Are you excited about it? I know you hear it in my voice that, I think it's dope. I think it's so cool that they're going to go back to the well and bring it back and further the story, because they even did, like, the Phoenix saga so well put. Like, I love that. Like, this is such a cool idea. Like, you have no idea. And I really look forward to seeing how this is going to shape up. And I think it drops in 2023, so next year. It seems like it was just New Year's anyway. Time is going by super fast, but either way you look at it, before you know it, we'll start getting more like promotions for it, and we'll start to find out more information about what they're going to do with the story. And you already got it locked here first. We're going to just talk about it. So that's it for this episode of Just the Talk. You know what it is about Just the Talk. All talk, right off the top of the dome, no fillers, not too much editing, just me at my rawest geeking about whatever it is that's going on in movie news, TV news, animated news, geekdom. Just to talk, no filler. You already know what it is. So like, share, subscribe. See you next time, and as always, till I have a good outro. Chill.